keep it pyro.
The very first special guest this Monday night here at Pyro Radio is a guy I've been trying to get on the show for quite a while, and we finally made it happen. On the phone line joining us right now, BRITIZEN Kane. What's happening, bro?
Yes, bro, you good?
Really good, man. First and foremost, I gotta ask you, like, how is your bank holiday? How is your May? How is the early signs of the British summer treating you right now?
Wet. It's wet in Manny. It's raining, Manny. Always rained. All bank holiday rain. That was it. Nothing but rain for the whole bank holiday, bro. So, yeah, man, it was chilled though. You know what I mean? I had the kids, so nice and chilled weekend with the kids and the family. So can't complain there, man. Can't complain at all. What about yourself?
Wicked. Yeah, likewise, man. I try and keep with no clubs, no festivals at the moment, but fingers crossed, coming back soon. Bank holidays at the moment.
It looks like. Did you see the thing on the bank holiday in Liverpool?
The Liverpool. Yeah, I saw a couple of clips, crazy. And it was like
emotional.
It was like a football ground. Like,
yeah, it's mad.
I was just like, wow, like the energy coming off. Like it was like. It was like, you know, hair on the back of your neck standing up, kind of goosebumps, all of that. It was mad. But
I just can't wait to get back to that. Like, I've missed doing shows so much, and I'm sure you have yourself. Like, I've missed doing live shows so much. I can't wait to get back to that.
It's mad. Like I said, you know, talking about bank holidays, and there's a few more this month as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm loving the family time, but I'm also like, bank holidays, weekends used to be the maddest weekends, you know?
Yeah, of course, bro.
But, you know, we will get back there. But, yes, thank you for joining us today, man. We've got, like, a lot to talk about.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, bro. We've got a lot to talk about. But first and foremost, a very important question I need to ask you. Which do you prefer, orange juice with bits or without bits?
Oh, without bits. Always. Was this from a Twitter conversation recently? Is this because of the Twitter? I've seen this on Twitter. I don't know if it's from you. I've seen this blowing up on Twitter recently, and I was like, without bits. Like, 100% without bits. Like, is there any other way?
Do you know what? I'm just shocked. I'm on the same page as you, bro. It's got to be the smooth orange juice. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Like, I swear this was there's been a massive debate about this on Twitter recently. And I'm just like, how is anybody saying the other one? Like, how? But yeah, without this, 100%.
Exactly. Now I know that we're on the same page and same wavelength.
Exactly. The interview will go smoothly.
Exactly. Because if you were coming back,
more bumps in the road.
If you were coming back with bits, it was like, sorry, bro, dodgy connection. Done.
Anyway, the next guest is.
But we're good, man. We're in a good place. And musically, you've been working on loads of bits at the moment, and you know. You're the same as me, I swear, that like there's so much music out there, that there's so many names out there that sometimes things become a little bit like unoriginal, let's say. Mm-hmm. But when I see an EP is on the way called Shokane, I just think it's a sick name, bruv. So I'd like you to talk to me a little bit more about the Shokane EP and what it's all about.
Alright, so the Shokane EP is basically myself and Shogun. We did a couple of tunes together last year that people sort of gravitated towards. Like, we did one for him, one for my project. People took a liking to him. So me and Shogun and Turkish, who's produced the whole EP, were just like, yo, should we just make a full project together? So we started work on the EP, and we just kept throwing the name Shokane around, like, just as I don't know, we just, one of us just said it once. I can't remember who said it first. Just because, you know, it was Shogun, BRITIZEN Kane. It was just a way of condensing the name down, and it just sort of stuck. And then I remember one day Turkish was like, yeah, that's the title, let's just run with it. And me and Shogun, we'd already sort of settled on it ourselves anyway, do you know what I mean? So when I knew that all three of us were in agreement that Shokane was going to be the title, we just went from there. So yeah, it's just short and simple, and it beautifully ties in, you know, the BRITIZEN Kane and the Shogun.
Definitely. And what can we obviously we're going to talk about the figure eight track in a moment as well, but in terms of the EP itself, I mean, when can we expect it, and what kind of features, or is it just the two of you? Is there no features? How's it kind of looking creatively?
It's pretty much finished. I think it's probably about, I'd say 99% finished at this point, and we've got a release date set in the next month or two. I'm not going to say when it is, but we've got a release date set for the next month or two. So that'll obviously, we'll be announcing that soon. It'll be coming out soon. So we've got the two singles so far. Borealis was the first one. That was just me and Shogun. And then we've done the Figure 8 one featuring Wombat, amazing MC from Australia, who You know, we were really lucky to have him bless us on a verse for this. And then the other features on the tape is just because we got this group at the moment called Antis, which is a group that we like a super group, if you want to, for lack of a better term, that we started, which is Turkish, myself, Shogun, Detail, BGR, and Rags, basically. So the only other features on the tape is the members of the group. So Detail's on a record, Rags is on a record, BGR's on a record. So yeah, that was a group effort as well to bring the EP together. And then a couple of songs that are just me and Shogun.
Let's go back to what you just mentioned about the collab with Shogun and Wombat, Figure 8, which is the one you're kind of rolling out right now.
The current single,
It's sick. It is sick, man.
Thank you, bro.
It is sick. And the last couple of tracks you've sent me, you know that I've been kind of playing and supporting as much as possible. But the new one, Figure 8, can you explain to us in your words kind of how that kind of came together? And how it all kind of worked out.
What it was we had Shogun was having a communication with Wombat, and basically the opportunity arrived for us to, you know, potentially work on a record with Wombat. So me and Turkish had started this idea already for this record, and she was like, "Yeah, this is crazy. Let's make this into an amazing record." All three of us, Shogun, me, and Wombat, we all just love rap. We just love bars. You know, we just like being lyrical, the complexity of it, just being able to show off what you can do with punchlines and wordplay and stuff. So my verse was on it. Shogun did his verse, and then it was just like the perfect song to give to Wombat for him to add to, because me and Shogun just showed off at the best ability of what we could do. And we just knew that Wombat would, you know, finish it off perfectly at the end because there's no chorus on the record. It's just 3 back-to-back verses. It doesn't need a hook. Like, it's just 3 verses of us showing what we can do. That's what we wanted it to be, and it worked out perfectly.
I was going to say, that's what I was about to touch on. Like, was that always the plan, or was it the case that when you were just writing, it was like, do you know what? This is this kind of joint. It doesn't need a chorus or a hook. It's just going to be bars.
I don't ever remember a conversation being had about that song ever having a hook, to be honest. I think from the start it was like, it's just going to be bars, like just rap, no hook needed. Because that's what we wanted it to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the 3 of us, we just wanted to showcase ourselves rapping as good as we could.
Yeah.
And,
well, you've done that, man. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it.
Now, you mentioned there when we were talking about the EP and kind of the work in the studio with Turkish. I mean, legend of the game. How is the chemistry with you guys? You know, how has that been working with the restrictions? You know, you've been churning out records still. Can you give us a little insight into how that kind of plays out?
Yeah, so it's mad because since this sort of whole, you know, pandemic and everything's happened, me and Turkish have not been in the studio together, we've not seen each other. Everything that's happened or we've created over the last 18 months to 2 years has literally been like this, separate. So he's been creating in London, I've been creating in Manchester, you know, we've just been transferring over the internet, having phone calls about, okay, let's do this. So yeah, we've not actually seen each other in like 2 years since this whole thing started. So it's been good though, like it's good that we have this relationship where I trust T, and I think T's starting to trust me now. With, you know what I'm saying, when I'm sending something, and T will be like, okay, let's change this little bit here, and then we go back and change it, and you know, we just tweaking it over the phone or via email or whatever, just to make sure it's perfect. But yeah, I'm glad to have that relationship with one producer as well, who, you know, it's consistent now. Like we made the album last year, we've done the Shokane EP, that's all Turkish. The album was all Turkish. The next project that I'm working on is all Turkish again. So yeah, we're just building a really good relationship at the minute, man, and it's working, isn't it? Like, I just can't wait till we can actually get in a studio together, like in an actual
in the same setting. 4 walls, yeah.
in the same 4 walls. Right, we're here now. And, you know, then it really comes to life because it's there and then. But, yeah, I'm really happy with it, man. It's working. That's the main thing. Well,
I think what really jumps out at me as, you know, I was surprised to hear that you hadn't connected in person in that amount of time, but the understanding, the levels of clear communication that are needed to keep executing records so well when you're so far apart and have been for a while. I mean, has that always been natural, or was it like a little bit kind of awkward and a bit challenging at the start? Not for you as people, just the dynamic of not being in the same room and having different timescales to work on and stuff like this. Life, I guess.
Yeah, I think one of the things at the beginning was because T is very a perfectionist. It has to be perfect. It has to be right, which is great. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, and you can hear things that I don't hear. So sometimes I would make a song and I'd be like, yeah, this is the one. And T would come back to me and be like, nah, it's not. Like, we need to change this a little bit. Oh, I think if we change this a little bit, it'll make it the extra percent better. And I was always at first like, okay, because I wasn't used to having that input from someone. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd never worked with somebody like that before. So that to me was a new dynamic. But like, as soon as I got into my stride with that, it was really easy. Like, we speak every day, we talk every day about either what's next or what we need to do at that moment. Do you know what I'm saying? And it is that conversation now where, like, I know that he'll just be like, okay, this and this on this song are great, let's look at this bit again. Or I'll be like, I want to go back and redo that verse. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, yeah, it's just, the process is getting easier and easier and easier as we go on, and we're churning out more and more and more records, and we're churning them out quicker.
Yeah, the chemistry's there now. You've found that groove of understanding each other.
We know,
yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's really positive, man. Now, for someone like yourself who has been in the game for a while now, it's always good to kind of tap into your attitude and outlook, because this music game moves so quickly, and it's seemingly each couple of months, each year, like, so much has changed since the previous year in terms of the industry.
Yeah.
You know, lots of artists are making records and they either fall out of love with it, or they get jaded, or they just, you know, take a certain direction that doesn't quite work for them. But for you, what has been kind of your secret in terms of longevity in the game? Because, you know, you've been putting out records a while now.
I think the main thing with me was that when I learned to love it again, because I had that same thing where I started to fall out with it, and I realised that I was starting to fall out with it because I was making songs that I thought other people wanted to hear, rather than what I wanted to hear. But you know, the whole phrase is build it and they will come. So it's like, now we're just making what we want to make, and people are gravitating towards it now more than they ever have before. And I think that's fueling the fire of my love for it so much. It's like, okay, I'm not having to make pop rap records, because I tried that before now and it wasn't for me. Like, some people are great at that, and you know what I'm saying, but that's not for me. I don't really enjoy doing that, and I'm not great at it. I just like rapping. Like, I love bars, I love metaphors and playing with words, and how can I, you know, the science behind it, really. So for me, it was like, when I started making that music, and people started gravitating towards it, I was like, this is it. Like, you do what you love and people will come. You know what I'm saying? If it's the quality's there and the quality is there, then people will come. So that's really what's especially the last sort of 2 to 3 years has really kept the momentum going, has been that, right? Yeah, just doing what you love, doing what I love. But and people starting to gravitate towards it. It's like, okay, this is what they want as well. They can see that I'm loving this. This is what they want as well.
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting answer, bro. Thank you for sharing that with us, because this is a conversation that I had with a lot of people, because I always like to tap into people's journey, like the real journey. Yeah. And I think maybe what's happened the last 12 months has given everyone a little bit of critical distance, maybe, to think about things. And also maybe, you know, compared to even a handful of years ago, the way music is shared and consumed and how we monetize that, there were times when that was challenging. You know, when, you know, physical records were kind of was not the format anymore, but we hadn't really worked out a way of, you know, reaching our own fans if we weren't signed to major labels on 360 deals and things like this. So I think there's something really calming and reassuring, I think, about once you find exactly what you know you're comfortable with musically and where your lane is, and you just do you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. That's what that's been the biggest thing of this whole sort of since me and T really started working closely together. That's been the biggest thing for me, is just making what I like to make, like not having to sort of conform, for lack of a better word. Like, I was never doing that because people were telling me to. It was because I thought that's what people wanted. And there became a point when I realised, you know what, if people wanted it, then my views would be higher, my numbers would be higher. Do you know what I'm saying? People obviously don't want to hear that from me. So let me just make what I want to hear from me.
Yeah, the music that gets you excited.
Yeah, exactly. And it's getting, because people can sense that excitement in you, it gets them excited too.
100%, man. But that energy is really good. And what I like about you as an individual as well as an artist is that when it comes to your online presence, you know, you're always supporting, you're always active, not only in your work and your projects, but also the projects of other people. Like you're never afraid to hit that retweet button. You're never afraid to reach out to people. And one thing that I love you do on the Insta is, I don't know if I'm going to call them a challenge or not, but there's obviously like a regular kind of camera angle you set up, you know, in the booth where you are recording either like a quick kind of performance of your latest track, or, you know, it'll be this track from this artist, or this track from this artist, and you've like written a 16 to do like your verse on that. So with that, was that just a case of that's just a bit of fun? Was that your way of doing it to like reach out to the artist as in, I'm here, maybe there's a collab, maybe there's a remix on the cards, or was it kind of a mixture? What was the thought process behind those videos that we see on your Insta?
It actually started in the first lockdown, so like March last year. It was the first time it really started, because at the time, I don't know if you remember, everyone on Instagram was doing challenges. All the rappers and all the producers were starting challenges because everyone was stuck in the house with nothing to do. So I was basically just doing all of them, and people were starting to notice. They were like, literally every 2 or 3 days, I was doing every single challenge that I could do, and people were like, nah, this is mad, like the work rate's crazy, and people started to like it, and it was really helping me as well with the whole just being able to rap, because with those challenges it's like free writing. You can write what you want, you know what I'm saying? It's not tied to the concept of a song, it's not tied to anything in particular. It's a chance to just write what you want to write, basically, and, you know, try a few things out. So for me, last year when I did that and people started to pick up on it and they started to get some interaction, I thought, well, I'm going to keep this moving then. So like you say, sometimes I'll do one for like the Figure 8 one. I done a one for the verse on Figure 8, you know what I mean, as the latest single, for an extra bit of promo for that. Sometimes if someone does do a challenge, like when Rude Kid was doing the Narcos challenge a month or so ago, I still get involved in that. And sometimes someone will put a song out and it'll just be like, yeah, I want to remix that, like earlier on in the year when Bugsy and Chip put the Notorious tune out. And I was just like, yeah, the instrumental was there, and I thought, you know what, I really want to hop on. I really just fancy doing a version of that. Like, obviously to get their attention would be amazing, but for me it's just like, if I like the beat, and you know what I mean, and also if it's a beat that's popular and people are already connecting with the original tune, that helps, because people are going to be more interested in seeing it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they're like, I like the original tune, let's see.
They might discover you that way. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with the Bugsy one, for example, because SBTV reposted it, which obviously, because it was popular at the time, they saw a remix of a popular tune, you know what I'm saying, and it was a good remix of a popular tune, you know what I'm saying, and that got me some more interaction. And it's just, yeah, man, I enjoy doing it as well. That's the main thing. I enjoy doing it.
That's good to hear, man. And we are going to press play on your brand new track, or your latest track, in just a moment. But one last question, and I guess a question that always kind of comes up, especially to those who are based outside the capital. Is there a pressure to move to London, or are you not bothered?
No, I'm not bothered.
Yes, say it with your chest.
I think the thing is that now Manchester, the scene in Manchester is thriving so much. Like there's some great artists that are coming out of Manchester. There's some artists that are making massive movements coming out of Manchester. There's so many great studios in Manchester now. There's so many great content creators and, you know, camera guys and photographers and promotional routes. You know what I'm saying? Like Manchester's building its own little scene like that. You know what I mean? The same that London has for 20, 30 years. Like, Manchester's got that now as well. So I think that the pressure to move is less, because obviously there's still some stuff you have to go to London for. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things you have to go to London for. But a lot of the stuff that you would potentially at one point have had to go to London for, you can now do in Manchester. Yeah,
the framework's there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what exactly that. And yeah, man, I love it, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper.
Do you know what? That is something that I don't think anyone can argue with about the price of living in London. There we go. Do you know what I mean? It's peak. But listen, thank you so much for joining us here at Pyro today, bro. It's been great to catch up with you and share your energy and a part of your journey with the listeners here. Before you go, we are going to press play on the brand new one with Shokane and Wombat. If you can introduce it for us, please.
This is the new single from myself and Shokane, taken from our upcoming Shokane EP. This is Figure 8 featuring Wombat, produced by Turkish Decipher.